relations, Russia is preparing to host rival Palestinian leaders. Russia's deputy foreign minister says Moscow will organize a meeting between the leaders of the Palestinian Authority and of the terrorist group Hamas. Hamas's leader Ismail Haniyeh will likely visit Russia at the beginning of next year. And meanwhile, Israelis neighboring the Gaza Strip, where Hamas rules, are wondering what is going on underground beneath them. Israel has discovered tunnels dug from Lebanon in the country's north. And now strange noises from underground have Israelis in Sderot wondering if the same thing is happening in the south. All right, for more on the terror threats from Hamas and their potential meeting hosted by Russia, we're joined by Matthew Brodsky. He's a senior fellow at the Security Studies Group. Matthew, good to have you with us. Matthew, why is Russia hosting these talks, both with Hamas and the Palestinian Authority? What's Russia's agenda?
Well, clearly the big opening that Russia had was in 2015 when it came in unopposed into Syria. And it came from a position of just trying to make sure that it could take care of what it previously had. It surpassed that. And now that it's going to be in control of that, it's looking around the region and trying to see where else it can bolster itself. And it sees the Palestinian conflict as something that it can get involved in, because the United States isn't going to be speaking with Hamas. And the reconciliation part, of course, Russia doesn't care about them reconciling. It just has to do with them getting together and Russia having the appearance of being in control of things. And again, Russia had a delegation really recently visit Israel, and the Israelis were showing them up toward the north and the tunnel threat. So Lebanon, another territory, another area that Russia has never had any form of strategic interest, but where Russia now gets to kind of play up its role as a regional peacemaker, or I would put it better, a regional arbiter for Israeli needs and anyone else's needs. That's what happens when you leave a vacuum.
Right, and the U.S. Setting up Russia to take over more power, with the president announcing withdrawing troops from Syria. So this is a power play by Putin. As you say, Russia just wants to be seen as a more dominant power in the world and in the Middle East. But where do you think President Putin's loyalties lie? He has a close relationship with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, also a very close relationship and an ally of Syria's Bashar al-Assad. Russia's also an ally of Iran. So if he had to choose, who does Putin side with?
Well, see, he's lucky, though. He doesn't have to choose. He does have a good relationship with Netanyahu from everything that we've seen and read. Both Netanyahu and Putin are very strong leaders, and they're leaders who tend to do what they say. So in all of the meetings, and there have been several, and mostly having to do with Syria, between the two, they've been frank, they've been curt, but they've been very direct and to the point. And it's not like a side is leaving without having said what it wanted to say and without the other side really understanding. So I don't think Israel is a fact that Putin knows is in the region and he has to deal with. But at the same time, it's the other Arab countries that he can sell his weapons to, because Israel isn't going to start buying Russian equipment. So he gets to have his cake and eat it too. He gets the best of both worlds. And in the meantime, everything comes down to the key word you'll always hear: stability. And what does stability mean? It now increasingly means order imposed by Russia. Previously, it simply meant an Iranian order, like stability in Lebanon, which is under Hezbollah and Iran. So this is not a choice that Putin is going to have to make. He can have it both ways, especially if the United States is not going to lay down a gauntlet anywhere as it comes to this.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, though, with the Syria and Israeli strikes on Iranian targets there, and if the Russia's position on so far allowing them may change as they take a bigger role. Right. Matthew, great to have you with us. Matthew Brodsky, senior fellow at the Security Studies Group. Thanks for that analysis. Have a great holiday. All right, as we wrap up the show, let's take a look at some other headlines.